Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your friendly neighborhood Saskatchewan guy, Ironman3406 here, back on the Cockshutt 90. This is your first time tuning into the channel. My name is Nathan. I really appreciate you stopping by. You guys are all, if you've been following along, familiar with this Cockshutt 90 that I found. Good little barn find. We've been going 3 videos on it now, just taking things apart mostly. We're still going to continue taking things apart. I did take the fuel tank off, just off camera. It was just one fuel line. I don't think you guys are missing much, but it does tell kind of a cool story. You can see the green paint underneath the red, just, you know, reiterating the fact that these were an Oliver 90 that just got sprayed red to come to Canada to be sold. So yeah, cool little telltale under there. So one more reason I think to keep the patina. Doesn't look too bad in there. I'll try and get a light and show you guys at some point, but shouldn't need a whole bunch of cleaning in the fuel tank. Also, just spent the last couple minutes here pulling all the carb stuff out of my carb cleaner there. Everything cleaned up real nice. I just rinse it off in warm soapy water with toothbrushes, scrub brushes, or whatever. If you don't have pipe cleaners in your shop for doing carb work, get yourself a bag. They work really good for getting into itty bitty little orifices like this to clean the gunk out of. But happy with how the carb, everything cleaned up pretty nice, so should be in a good spot there. I did decide to put the bowl into the solution for a little while just to soak as well. So we'll get that taken out the next day or two and cleaned up, and then get all these parts just bagged up for now until carb kit shows up. One real quick thing too, in the last video, I don't know if you guys noticed the light flickering. I tried changing some settings in the camera, but that wasn't it. It turns out this Mac light runs on some kind of frequency that as soon as I turn it on, it you can see it there. As soon as I turn it on, it comes back into the camera. However, this Milwaukee light doesn't do the same deal. So we'll use this Milwaukee light moving forward so that we don't get all the goofy distortions. This is an awesome light. I really like it. It's just for the camera, whatever, it doesn't agree with the hertz settings or whatever. So we'll stick with this one. So I think what we're gonna do today is, I drained the coolant out of this, or I thought I did, but it just keeps dripping and it keeps coming out of that valve as well. So I don't think the water's all out of it. There's a blockage somewhere down here. So I'm gonna take that bottom rad hose off, see what's in there so I can get the rest of the water out of it. Then we're gonna move up top. I've been thinking about it, and because of all that stuff that was in number 1 here that I vacuumed out, I want to pull the head off just in case that valve was open and those critters got any stuff on top of the cylinder. I don't want to go to fire this thing up and have all that crap on top of the cylinders. So we'll get that top water bonnet taken off and get the valve cover off, get all ready, and it probably won't hurt to get the valve cover off anyway, just because this thing hasn't ran in 45 years. There's probably hasn't been a lot of lubrication up on the top end either, so it wouldn't hurt to give things a inspection up there and make sure we don't have to clean anything if there's, you know, condensation's got up there and things got rusty. So that's the plan today. First thing I'm going to do, like I say, get this coolant pipe taken off the bottom of that water pump and the bottom of the rad, and then we'll move up top and start into getting the head off. So stay tuned. Alright, so it's 9/16 socket there. There's one on each side. I don't know if you guys have ever used these wobble socket extensions or ratchet extensions. They allow that socket to pivot a little bit. There's just a round. I love these things. You can get away with doing a lot without having to get a full swivel socket in there. And I need a longer one. Get that longer one in there. Just like so. And then I really am a fan of flex head ratchets. They just really help you get into hard to reach places. Let that ratchet flex a little bit, like you can see how it's moving around that pipe. If that was a straight ratchet, it'd be binding all the time, and I just really like flex head ratchets. Alright, that's one. And two breaks loose. Now I should probably put a bigger drain pan underneath this thing. Just okay. There we go. Number two. Alright, so that's broke loose on there. I'm going to take it off here to start, in the event that this is all full up here. That way you can just shoot down and not spray out at me. So, and loosen off these old school hose clamps. Like so. And get that pulled out. Okay. Oh yeah. Just to my suspicion, look at the crud that's in there. Yummy. Oof. Well, I'm glad I made that call. That is, wow. Gonna have to do some cleaning. So now we'll move on to the upper hose. And I'll move on to the nuts that hold the coolant tube pipe to the top of the head. Ooh. Get them over loose out. shall we, to start a debate on YouTube. So, got some WD-40 here. I've already broke these all loose, but I want to put a little lubrication around these threads now. Does it work? Doesn't it? I don't know. Seems to help. Everybody's got their opinions on penetrating oil and, oh, does it work, doesn't it? I don't know either. But we'll get all these nuts out either way. I really do think that it helps after you've broke something loose, though, to just give some lubrication to those threads. Speeds up the process of getting the nuts off there. Alright, let's see if we can get that water pipe broke loose. I'm going to do it with this. You can't read that because of the light. It's Impact Polyhammer is the brand. This is actually a hammer that's manufactured right here in Saskatchewan. Pretty good quality hammer. So, just give it a go. Grab a pry bar. Well, we got all kinds of stuff dropping. But, got it off. So far, that crud doesn't seem to be up this high, so that's a bonus. Alright, we'll get spark plugs taken out next. I've already got number 1 taken out because I was getting it sourced for getting some new ones. So we'll get these other 3 out of the way, and we'll get the valve cover off. These aren't your typical spark plugs. 15/16 these buggers. That was a little bit of bugger. Probably gone. Don't look terrible, but I'll still throw a new set in. Keep these as a good backup set. I actually was able to find genuine Champion W14s too, so. Alright, let's move on to the valve cover. Another reason I like flex head ratchets. You can almost use them like speed handle. screwdriver. I tell you what, this thing just keeps amazing me as to how easy it's coming apart. Oh, wow. Well, I gotta say, the top end of this thing doesn't look bad at all. There's oil up here yet. The oil smells a little gassy, but man, look at the size of the size of the components on this tractor. The more I look at this, the more I wonder if a D4 engine would fit. No, can't. We're not going to do that. But it's almost physically like, it seems like it's pretty close to the same size, but we're not going to do that. But like this rocker shaft, it's got some size to it for sure. So we'll get the rocker shaft off. Everything moves. It's barn finds, I tell you. It's the way to do it. So we get the rocker shaft off. We'll take this oil feed line out of the way first, and then it looks like it's just 4 3/8 studs that hold that rocker shaft down, and the whole thing's one piece. So we'll get the line taken off first, and just a little itty bitty tube. Alright, get the rocker shaft out of here. That wasn't very tight. Now I know the question's going to come up. Why don't you do that with an impact? Don't you own an impact? Yes, I own an impact, but when it comes to disassembly of internal engine components for the first time in who knows how long, I like to do it with a wrench manually so I can get a feel of what's going on before breaking something. There we go, pressure rocker shaft now. You can just go down these nuts. Now, at this point, I probably could go around and back to runs out make it quicker, but it's only for the nuts. Another one side. Alright, with the bolts out, this rocker shaft should lift out of here pretty good now, pretty easy. Maybe. Suppose it's going to be stuck on the studs a little bit. It looks like those compress. So maybe it's just bound on the studs a little bit. I'll grab just a little bit of persuasion tool. Take too much. There we go. Oh, a little bit of oil left in there yet, that's good. Okay, we'll get the push rods out now. Just got a piece of cardboard here. Arrow points forward, so I'll just pull them out, stick them in the holes so that everything stays in the order and it's supposed to. Alright, we'll get on to loosening the head bolts. Now again, I like to just break them loose manually to start with, working from the middle out. Okay, that one we'll have to get that fitting out of the way. And then last head bolt broke free. There we go. Now those are all broke free. They should all come out by hand now. Most of them. So a friend of mine on YouTube always likes to look at how a tractor tells a story. If you can see it in there's red paint on that nut, and that come from under the valve cover. So this, somebody's been had the head off of this at one point, and they took one of the nuts that was out here that would have had red paint on it and got it under the valve cover where there would never have been any paint. So the head's been off of this at least once, I would say, just because of that red paint on that nut. Other ones. Just a little bit more help. Alright, so head bolts are all out. Looks like I gotta take this bracket off that holds the spark plug wires on, and one more oil line on the front of the head there. And after that, I think I can try and lift it off. So I'm just going to take these two off camera, get them done real quick. While I'm doing that, anybody want to take a guess at how much the cylinder head weighs? Okay, so off camera I just got it broke loose, split the head gasket just so that it wasn't sticking. But the predicament I have now is trying to figure out how I'm going to lift the bastard off. So I think what I'm going to do is just slowly keep lightly prying and putting wedges under it till I can get it high enough past the studs so that they're not catching and binding. Like you can see here how it's kicking that rust and stuff out of there. The studs are just binding, so if I can get it up high enough to be past those studs, I should be able to pick it off on my own. But while I was doing that, I noticed something. If you look at our valves, you can see we got that one, that valve is stuck open. So another good reason, I guess, for taking this apart, checking the head out and making sure that there's no gunk in cylinder 1 from that critter, but you get that valve unstuck too. So I'll bring you back when I get this a little higher off of here. Alright, just let you guys know where I'm at here. So I got, like I say, I got some wedges underneath. I've got, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or a little better, 3/8 of an inch with 3 pieces of wood under it. So we'll keep going here and just keep getting it up. I'll keep bringing you back. Alright, so we're gaining ground slowly. It's these studs on this side out of the trouble bunch. You can see how rusty they are. Oh, even if I get the light, you can see how rusty they are, causing trouble. So we'll just keep wiggling and prying and putting more under there, and eventually I'll get her off. Alright, here's the latest. Got about an inch to go yet to get off of these studs that are on the manifold side. So I'm gonna go find some more blocks and we'll just keep shimmying it up, and then I'm hoping I can just get it off the studs and it'll sit on the wooden blocks, and then I can just sort of slide it out to myself instead of trying to lift it from up there, because it just keeps going higher and higher and higher, and it just gets heavier and heavier the higher you go. So we'll keep going here, inch by inch or 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Alright, good news. We are officially off of the studs. So now what I'm hoping I can do is just sort of slide the head towards me so that I can kind of cradle it in my arms to get it off. This is probably going to end in disaster. But hey, it's YouTube. Oh, that thing's heavy. Oh. That is a heavy mother head. Holy crap. Whew. Holy mother. Oh. Alright, well, now that I've caught my breath, hope you all enjoyed that. I don't know that I did yet, but things are a little angry on my body right now. But let's assess what we got here. So if we look at number 1, there's all kinds of rust scale on the top of the piston. Same thing with 2, 3, 4. So I'm really glad I did decide to take the head off, because that stuff would have been floating around in there. Another reason I'm happy I did it too, you can see those water jackets are right full of rust and scales, so we'll have to get those cleaned out. This, I don't know what this is. Oh, that is just thick oil goo plugging up that oil gallery. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. That oil gallery right there is plugged off with this thick, sludgy, I don't know what it is. too much more. After the head gasket's off, something written in marker over there on the top of the block. I'll have to scrub that off and see what it says. But again, I'm super glad I decided to pull the head off. Just because there's a lot of crud that needs to get cleaned. I don't know what that says. Is it maybe 22/81? Maybe that's, like I said, I was pretty sure the head was pulled off because there was that one red nut that had paint on it. 2287 wouldn't make sense though. I don't know what that says. Well, once it's cleaned up, maybe I'll be able to see a little better, but anyway, the head's off. I'll get the head flipped over and we'll have a look at the bottom of the head too. Alright, so the back, this one we're looking at right now is number 4. That's number 1. So, geez, this thing's got big valves. Holy smokes. There's our stuck valve on number 3. And then we've got a little bit of rust scale in number 1 and 2. But otherwise, at first glance, looks like the head's, you know, pretty good shape. Maybe it looks like a couple of the valves aren't seating all the way either, so have to get those pulled out and inspected and clean up the seats. Maybe have to do a little valve grinding and go from there. Well, everybody, I think that's where I'm going to wrap this video up. We got a lot accomplished here today. Got all the way down to getting the head off. So my body's a little angry at me right now, so I'm going to just take a little break here and just clean some parts, assess a few other things, have a look at what I got, maybe start cleaning up some of this and getting it vacuumed out and assessing a little bit deeper. But I do appreciate you following along and coming along, so if you've got any suggestions and whatnot, or questions, comments, make sure you throw them down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe if you're liking this little project, and I will see you guys on the next one. Don't forget, I am Iron Man.